What if I told you your credit card is not just charging you interest? It may be quietly stealing your future. For a lot of Black families, credit cards are sold like freedom. Rewards, points, flexibility, a way to build credit. But behind the perks is a system that profits when you stay in debt, pay late, and keep carrying balances. In this video, we're breaking down how credit cards really work, why they hit Black wealth so hard, and how to use them without getting used by them. The first thing people need to understand: credit cards do not show up looking dangerous. They show up looking helpful. They show up looking grown, responsible, modern, convenient. They tell you that you can build your score, earn points, get perks, travel better, cover emergencies, smooth out life. And for a minute, that feels true. That is why so many people fall into this. Because the trap is not built on stupidity. It is built on seduction. Nobody signs up because they want to drown in interest. They sign up because they want breathing room. But breathing room borrowed the wrong way becomes pressure later.
Part 2. How the system really makes its money. Here is what a lot of people miss. The bank does not make its real money from giving you points. It makes its money when you carry a balance. It makes money from interest, late fees, penalty fees, swipe fees built into the system, and all the little moments where you cannot pay the full amount and they get to keep charging you for being behind. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau found that credit card companies charged consumers a record $130 billion in interest and fees in 2022. That is not a side hustle. That is the business model. Now, let's get to the harder truth. This does not hit every community the same way. Black families often have less room for financial error because the wealth gap is real, the cushion is thinner, and access to safe, affordable financial tools is not equal. The FDIC found that in 2023, 10.6% of Black households were unbanked, 23.8% were underbanked, and 28.6% had no mainstream credit, all far worse than white households. Black households also made up 32.3% of the unbanked, despite being a much smaller share of total households. That matters because when people have less access to stable banking and fair mainstream credit, they are more exposed to expensive financial products, bad terms, and pressure borrowing.
And even when Black adults do have credit cards, the debt burden often looks different. The Federal Reserve reported that credit card ownership is lower among Black adults. But among Black adults who do have a card, 72% carry a balance from month to month. It also found Black applicants are more likely to be denied credit or approved for less than requested. So now think about what that means. Fewer people have access. More people who do get access are carrying balances. And more people are dealing with a system that costs more when you are already under pressure. That is how wealth gets drained quietly. Not always in one dramatic collapse, but month by month, fee by fee, interest charge by interest charge.
Part 4, the minimum payment is a beautiful lie. This part right here has broken a lot of people. Because the minimum payment looks like mercy. It looks small, manageable, reasonable. But what it often really does is keep the debt alive. You feel like you handled it because you paid something. But many times, you barely touched the real balance. That is how someone can be responsible every month and still not get free. That is how people work hard, pay on time, and still feel stuck. Because the system does not just want payment, it wants duration. It wants you in the cycle.
The longer you stay in the cycle, the more they make. And for people already trying to hold a household together, that cycle can become emotional. You start feeling ashamed, then tired, then numb. Then the card becomes normal, not a tool,
a lifestyle. And once debt becomes normal, wealth becomes harder to build. Because money that could have gone to savings, investing, insurance, or ownership is now going backward.
Part 5. Late fees hit the people who can least afford them at all. A lot of people think late fees are just punishment for being careless, but that is not how this works in real life. In real life, people miss payments because they are juggling too much. A bill hit early, hours got cut, something happened with a child, something happened with health, something happened with transportation, something happened with life. The CFPB found that the credit card market continues to rely on revenue from late fees that are disproportionately paid by economically vulnerable consumers, and that these fees disproportionately burden consumers in low-income and majority Black neighborhoods. That means lateness is not just a personal habit issue, it is also a structural issue. When people are living closer to the edge, one small disruption can trigger a fee. Then interest stacks on top. Then credit scores get hit. Then future borrowing gets more expensive. That is how one late payment becomes a chain reaction. And chains are expensive.
Part 6. Even the rewards game is not really fair. This part makes people uncomfortable, but it needs to be said. A lot of the rewards people love are not free. They are subsidized by a system that pulls more from people with less stability. A Federal Reserve study on credit card rewards estimated an annual redistribution of about $15 billion from less to more educated, poorer to richer, and high to low minority areas. Sit with that. The people struggling with interest, fees, and weaker financial positioning are helping fund the perks enjoyed by people who can pay in full and harvest the rewards cleanly. So when folks brag about beating the system with points, I always say, maybe some people are, but a lot of people are not. A lot of people are carrying balances for the privilege of pretending they are gaming a machine that is still extracting from them. And that is one of the darkest parts of the whole thing.
Let's make it plain. Credit cards steal wealth when you pay interest instead of paying yourself. You pay late fees instead of building savings. You normalize debt instead of building margin. You chase points while losing principal. You use borrowed money to fund a lifestyle your income cannot sustain. You let your credit score control your self-worth. You keep financing the present and starving the future. That is the theft. Not because someone physically takes cash from your hand, but because your financial energy keeps getting redirected away from ownership, away from peace, away from investments, away from escape.
So what should people actually do? First, stop using a credit card for emergencies if you do not have a payoff plan. That is not an emergency solution. That is delayed pain. Second, if you carry a balance, stop being hypnotized by rewards. Your mission is not points. Your mission is freedom. Third, if possible, set up autopay for the full statement balance, not the minimum. If you cannot do the full balance, then your goal is to stop adding new charges while you get control. Fourth, lower the temptation. Do not keep using a card just because there is space on it. Available credit is not available wealth. Fifth, build a real emergency fund, even if it starts small. The CFPB recommends automatic saving because consistency matters more than waiting for a perfect moment. Sixth, learn the difference between building credit and financing your life. Those are not the same thing. And lastly, if credit cards trigger emotional spending, then reduce access. Take it off the phone, leave it home, use cash or debit for a while. Create friction, because discipline loves friction.